Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's first Friday virtual pub session for December. I'm Richard Gosselin, editor of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's members magazine, Unfiltered. And as usual, I will be your pub landlord tonight. So can you believe it? December, yes, bit of a shocker, but we're doing our best to get into the festive season here at the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. And we've got a cracking evening of entertainment lined up for you. We're going to be hearing from the one and only Robin Lang, the Whisky Bard, tasting panel chair, and he's here to give us some winter tunes, I believe, and maybe even a wee bit of poetry. We're going to be checking in with Alan Wood, one of our ambassadors at Bath Street in Glasgow. He's got some suggestions on buying whisky this Christmas, whether it's for yourself or gifts for other people. We'll be hearing from Society Executive Head Chef James Freeman, who will be giving us some tips on Christmas catering, maybe working with whisky in the kitchen and telling us about the home dining experience, which he's been working on, and he's got a Christmas special lined up. So we'll check in with James to hear more about that. And our very own Mads Schmall will be with us to kind of help us indulge in a wee bit of nostalgia. She's going to be talking about a retro Christmas and also giving us some gifting ideas from the society. So we've got loads coming up. Give us a shout out wherever you are. Let us know what you're drinking, what's in your glass this evening, and take part in the comments. And it's always good to hear from you. But first of all, let me introduce my co-host for the evening. The one and the only Dean Marinello steps out from behind the bar at the Vaults to take part in the pub session for the first time. You've done some tastings, Dean, but you've not been in the pub session before, have you?
It's the first time I've ever been told I've not been in a pub session, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Richard. Yeah, I've done a couple of these with John McShane, our master global ambassador, and obviously been watching as a whisky fan during the main lockdown and since the summer. Our good old new landlord of the virtual pub, Richard, I've been watching them from home. So yeah, great to be a part of it.
Good to have you on board, Dean. We're going to catch up very soon to have a wee dram with you and get some of your insight into what we can be drinking this festive season and how to be sharing the whisky love with people, whether it's in person or virtually. But let's get Robin on as soon as possible. Always brilliant to hear from the Whisky Bard himself. Robin, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Richard. Dean, good to see you. I haven't seen you for ages.
You too, my man. You're looking well.
I'm so happy to join everybody in the virtual pub. Of course, I'm in an area, South Lanarkshire, that's level 4, so there are no pubs here. The virtual is the nearest I get to it. So I've got my wee dram. I've got a Society 9190, so it's a 17-year-old Glen Grant. I'm all set.
Excellent. Robin, you want to just take it away?
I will. So I'm going to give you a couple of seasonal songs, but first I'm going to start with a poem or two. A couple of years ago, I published a book, The Whisky Muse 2. It's a collection of all my whisky song lyrics and all my poems. Not many people know that I write poems as well, but in the early days of the panel, Charlie McLean used to always refer to me as the poet. So I'm not sure whether winter is the best time for drinking whisky or autumn. I think autumn's a better time to enjoy whisky, but in winter, whisky is absolutely essential. So this is a wee poem called Whisky in the Snow. The glass you now hold in your hand is cold, but it contains a liquid sunset fire, and heart and soul are warmed by glow of gold. All day we watched a snowy scene unfold. Banks and drifts of snow grew ever higher. The glass you now hold in your hand is cold. Now here we stand, and precious drops we hold. What better contrast could a man desire, as heart and soul are warmed by glow of gold? In whisky, tales of summertime are told. Ripe barley and the happy songbird's choir. The glass you now hold in your hand is cold. The snow is fresh and new, the whiskey old. The land has donned a linen white attire, as heart and soul are warmed by glow of gold. We sip and find our spirits are made bold, and more we can the scene admire. The glass you now hold in your hand is cold, but heart and soul are warmed by glow of gold. Now, something a little bit different. I always feel when we get to December that I wish I was a fox or something, a bear, one of these animals that can hibernate, you know. So this is a poem called Hibernation. Now is the time to hibernate. Go to bed early, wake up late. When winter comes, there's no debate, no reason to procrastinate. When worldly cares increase in weight, when rivers freeze or run in spate, and cars on icy roads will skate, this is the time of year I hate. To sleep, perchance to dream, how great, for months wrapped up in bed, first rate. I'm simply going to incubate until the spring or later date. The cold and damp debilitate. Why don't we all just emigrate? I've tried hard to appreciate the lack of sun, but honest mate, I really cannot contemplate such a funless, freezing fate. So here's my plan. I'm heading straight to bed, right now, tonight at 8. I know it will infuriate my wife. She'll call me reprobate. My mind's made up. But hold on, wait. Wake me up on Christmas Eve. Ruffle my hair and tug my sleeve and whisper softly in my ear of Stollenbites and Weihnachts beer. I'd hate to miss that Christmas morn, the piles of gifts, the tree adorned, a long lie, looking out on snow, with sparkling flute of Veuve Clicquot. A lazy day while someone else fills the kitchen with lovely smells, maybe a goose, maybe a duck, a big rib roast if I'm in luck. And after that, some Christmas pood, a fire of scented hissing wood, then chocolates by the kilogram, washed down with very special drams. And then, as night time starts to creep, I'll head for bed and back to sleep. Don't bother me on Boxing Day, just wake me up on Hogmanay. There, now we're going to have a couple of songs. I'll stand up for this. Here's a wee song about winter in Scotland. Oh, the summertime. No, that's the summertime song. It's the winter time, isn't it? Oh, the winter time is coming, and not a thing is blooming. And when the storm has passed us, there's another cold front looming, bringing snow, bloody snow. Rain and windy weather for 9 months every year. You get no rest whatsoever from the snow, bloody snow. Oh, the winter time is coming, and we'll need our central heating and a wee dram of whiskey just to keep your old heart beating in the snow, bloody snow. Rain and windy weather for 9 months every year. You get no rest whatsoever from the snow, bloody snow. If my true love was a duck, or a polar bear, or a penguin, maybe she'd have stuck around to see a happy ending to the snow, bloody snow. Rain and windy weather for 9 months every year. We get no waste whatsoever from the snow, bloody snow. Oh, the winter time is coming, and the hussies are like fridges, and the only consolation is you don't get bloody midges in the snow, bloody snow. Rain and windy weather, as you'll no hear me complaining, for my lips are froze together in the snow, bloody snow. And we did have snow today, about 4 or 5 inches this morning, and then a rapid thaw, and so we've had floods. I live beside the River Clyde, and it is roaring down the valley, and we've had floods in the garden. In Edinburgh, they had thunder snow, which is, they all thought it was a sonic boom or an explosion or something. That must have been exciting. Now, this song is not about the winter at all, but it is about Friday night. And here we are. So whatever time of year it is, Friday night starts the weekend, and that's when you get the whiskey out. So I hope you've all got your drams to hand, like me. This is called Special Sippin' Whiskey. It could have been written about society malts. The sun is going down and the barbecue is on. My friends are coming around, we'll stay up till the dawn. It's Friday evening and the working week is done. It's time to open the whiskey. Now everybody's here and I've got some music on. There's ice for the beer and candles on the wall. The moon's coming up and the sun will soon be gone. It's time to open the whiskey. Not just any old whiskey will do. It's got to be something special for you. You are my friend, and I'll give you your due and pour you a special sipping whiskey. So how about this one? It's 29 years old. The color is a blissful burgundy gold. Just give it time for the magic to unfold. Another fine special sipping whiskey. It doesn't need soda, it doesn't need ice. Don't mix it with cola, ooh, that would not be nice. There's fruit and flowers and honey and spice in a special sipping whiskey. Not just any old whiskey will do. It's got to be something special for you. You are my friend, and I'll give you your due and pour you a special sipping whiskey. If you appreciate whiskey, you'll appreciate friends. That's just how it hits me, it seems to make sense. Old friends, bookends, single malts or blends. Special friends need special whiskey. Keep all the cheap stuff for the rest of the pack. They might be happy with Johnny or Jack. They're glugging it, they're slugging it, they're knocking it back. We'll stick to special sipping whiskey. Keep all the cheap stuff for your unwanted guests, or rub it on your chest if you've got pests in your vest. For cooking, for cocktails, it might just pass the test, or give it to the school tombola. Yeehaw! That's me, finished. Thank you very much.
Absolutely brilliant as always.
Thank you, Richard.
Robin.
Cheers, man.
Great to see you, and we'll catch up for a wee bit more later on in the evening. So look out for that. Brilliant. Thank you, Robin. Superb. Nice way to start, Dean.
We're just talking amongst ourselves there in the private chat. I don't think it's a secret that Robin Lang's been a big part of our tasting notes over many years, you know, and we're just saying there it's a natural poet, and the tasting notes are so evocative of storytelling and poetry, and I think that's a big part of the society, the playfulness as well, you know.
Yep. Well, I think many members can probably spot a Robin Wren
Yeah.
bottle name
Yeah, I
or
remember
tasting note.
whiskey
when they come
flavored
across it.
condoms and skunk roadkill was always tough to beat that one.
Yeah, beat that one. Maybe not. So we've got some special sipping whiskey to talk about, Dean. We've got a new outturn out today, and we thought we'd just take a look at some of the bottlings in that. I'm going to kick off with Alan Wood, though. He's an ambassador. He works at 38 Bath Street in Glasgow, and he's got a wee some pointers. So let's hear from Alan first.
Good evening, my name is Alan Wood. I work for Scotch Malt Whisky Society at 38 Bath Street. We're located on the west coast and we're one of a kind, and we have a couple of drams here that help to act as an icebreaker for that awkward Christmas scenario of chatting to people virtually while the turkey cooks in the oven. What I tend to recommend is something big, bold, brassy and young, something to really get the party started. And there's nothing more awkward for me than chatting to somebody over Zoom. So for me, I prefer something nice, big and brassy that gets people chatting and conversing as well. Especially when it comes to adding water to whiskey, a very divisive topic in the industry. It allows you to add as much or as little as you like. Why not pop down to any one of our venues, have a look at our takeaway drams, our bottles for sale, and enjoy this festive season, no matter how hard or trying it may be. So from the Society to you, have a Merry Christmas and we'll hope to see you soon.
Very nicely done, Alan.
Superb as always, the big man.
Yep. So Dean, he's talking about getting the party started this Christmas, maybe with something that's big, bold, brassy, and young. So you've had a look through the outturn. You got any picks for us?
Yeah, absolutely. The Alan, as ever, and everyone at the new venue in Glasgow at Bath Street. Cheers to y'all. It's superb. We're looking at 113.40, Richard, a sheep in wolf's clothing. Thinking about this as one of the two superstar buys. But first up would be the Rich and Indulgent, number 94.10, the gentle sparkling beast from the east.
Yep.
You and I were talking about this one during the week there, just before it was released. On our outturn today, December outturn, 13 years, initial cask, ex-bourbon hogshead. And we've additionally matured that in a first fill, ex-Pedro Jimenez hogshead. And it's, Richard, you're getting the kudos on this one because it was you or I that was on this, and I tried it for the first time yesterday. I wasn't on the tasting panel for this one. That's the first wee go of it yesterday, and I mean, if you don't mind kicking us off with your notes.
Well, I mean, I'll give credit to our spirits manager Ewan Campbell for highlighting this one out of the outturn as a proper sherry bomb. It's from a distillery that you don't normally associate with sherried whiskies. It's a lighter spirit, but having spent a substantial amount of time in that Pedro Jimenez cask, it's really, it's given us a proper sherry bomb, and you stick your nose in there and you're getting all those Christmassy notes that you could possibly look for. Loads of cloves, cinnamon, candied orange in there. It's a warming, heartening, Christmas fireplace perfection in a glass for me.
It really is. You think of the venue at the Vaults. I'm one of the ambassadors based down at the 87 Giles Street, the Vaults that many of us know so fondly. You think of sitting at the fireplace, especially during this time of the year, don't you, with a dram like that? Ex-bourbon hogshead, and with that additional maturation, first fill PX, Richard.
Yeah,
hang on the money there. But I'm with you there with cinnamon, candied orange.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic Christmas drumming, isn't it?
We'll talk about some of these PX casks that are coming out, and it's again though, it's so natural for so many of us to instantly be drawn to deep, rich, and dried fruits. You know, with the flavor profiles, they're also enticing, but I think deep, rich, and dried fruits is the one that seems to always stand out.
Yeah.
The nature of the beast, Richard, with only so many bottlings from the final casks, it is difficult for members to be able to get a hold of what every member to be able to get a hold of one, and that's been the nature of it, as Pip talked about in our recent tastings with Philip Hills, the founder, over the past year. It's been great to catch up with Pip. He talked about that from the beginning, and it's continued throughout. It's the nature of a lot of our rare casks, single malt, yes, but many of them are a single malt Scotch whisky, but many of them are coming from one single cask.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to be able to get your hands on them. So I would say to all the members out there that we know well, near and far, it's another one of those that seems to be, you know, a big favourite. It's difficult for us to all get our hands on them, but do look out for the new small batch Hersey range. I was talking to the guys yesterday of Spice Cannon, which I put up next to this side by side yesterday. Spice Cannon, no secret anymore. It's also just been recently released. Our new small batch expression is superb. So anyone who can't get their hands on some of these rarer cask bottlings, do look out for Spice Cannon, because what Richard said there in this tasting note for me is so evocative of Christmas, and that Spice Cannon would do the trick.
Yeah, and we should mention this bottling is available as part of the Holiday Delights trio. So for members who are looking to pick up maybe more than one bottle in the run up to Christmas for themselves or anyone else, that could be a way to get hold of this. I'm not sure if there's any left. We should also say that if you're able to get into one of the members' rooms, there's a good chance that they will have it in stock there. If you can't pick it up online and you're fortunate enough to be close enough to one of the members' rooms, then good chance that they will have some stock in there. And the members' rooms, from my understanding, Dean, are they're bulging with whiskey right now, because obviously
we talked about that earlier, didn't we? You'd managed to see some of the guys at Glasgow earlier. Shout out to Glasgow. I've still yet to even have a nice wee personal visit. I would like at some stage when we can get things opened up, because that venue since opening earlier this year has been superb, and by the pictures and what everybody talks about it, they're in the same boat as us. There is stock there at the venue to buy from as a retail shop, bottling for members and guests. And as Richard just said there, we've got a lot of stock that might have sold out online, but available as we've advertised online via social and also on our websites. Retail opening hours you'll see on our website for each venue.
That's it. And so we've got a couple of these other bottles, Dean, which we're calling superstar buys. How about that? I wouldn't call them entry level whiskies, because that doesn't sound like it's doing them a favor. But they're certainly the more affordable end of the spectrum for society bottlings. I think they're both £44, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mid-40s range.
£45.60. That's what we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. The 113, I think, Richard. Yeah, 113.40.
Yep.
Which may or may not come up in our quiz. A little inside wee tip there for the quiz later this evening. 113.40. 8 years of sheep and wolves clothing. Second fill bourbon barrel. And also the 122.35. Which I think we'll go into a wee bit of chat after discussion with you and little fun facts on that 122, Richard.
Yeah.
But 11340, the one that I started off the evening with, is Robin was just about to play some of it, the old musico there. 8 years, second fill bourbon barrel. I mean, Pip, again, having the fortune to be able to see someone like Pip, Richard, last year at the first global gathering, and again, just in a couple of times he's been able to pop in, depending the regional levels here in Scotland, to see some of us. He's talked about that as well since the very beginning. The amount of casks members catch on to how great cask strength and single malt whiskey can be, and then suddenly they stop thinking about the names and where it's from, and I think we can safely say what we're all about, which is this flavor and the flavor journey. And Pip mentioned that. He's like, it was amazing for him to see a lot of members growing as a society was starting to grow throughout the 80s. I need to get a part of that. I need to try that whiskey. I need to try this. And being able to say, right, wow, I've never even heard of that distillery, or I've never even thought of single malt from that distillery, never mind cask strength. And that one there, Richard, 113.40, that's one there that I think that's right in line with kind of how Pip said it started to evolve with rare distillery cask offerings,
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not a single malt you're going to see very often, if at all, from that distillery. So it's a chance to explore it, whether you know anything about the distillery or not. It's just something a bit, excuse me, it's a bit different. What was interesting about these two bottlings as well, that they're the same price at £45.60. They're both 8 years old. They're both matured in second fill ex-bourbon barrels, and they were actually distilled within a day of each other. That's my understanding. Like within 1 day of each other in May 2012. Yeah, you've got these two very, very different whiskies. They share a lot, but still, totally different flavor profiles as well. But it's really nice to kind of have the two glasses next to you and nose them separately and just appreciate these two whiskies that are almost twins in terms of the birth date, but have come out very differently.
Oh, damn right. Yeah, well said, Richard. Marshmallow. I used to get called Marshmallow at the at primary school with the last name of mine. So I'm in a fruit bowl with that one. Marshmallows in a fruit bowl. Only with 231 bottles in existence from, as Richard said, a second fill ex-bourbon barrel. And Richard, the flavor profile, I mean, I don't know for you, but I mean, there's that classic little wood smoke that starts to become a bit of a pit and a bit of a wee fire from that distillery. A lot of the peat that they do is obviously is peated expression.
Yeah.
This is spirit that's from the same still, but made with unpeated barley and put into a second fill bourbon barrel, and it's just, I mean, again, I'm similar with you, just bursting with tropical fruits, citrus, vanilla, marzipan, my good old favorite Bakewell tarts that I enjoy sharing with my mum whenever we can see each other. That marzipan Bakewell element to it, but quite unusual because, as you were saying earlier on, you and our spirit manager, he did make that point. It's quite commonly a peated expression.
Yeah.
But this is from the same still, I reiterate, but with an unpeated barley and put into a second fill barrel. So for those of you out there with a wee close eye on some of the society's lightly peated or medium peated stocks that are not from the atypical peated producing distilleries, that one there, Richard, and again, you're getting the kudos because you picked those out. Yeah, I tried it for the first time yesterday. It's a wee cracker.
Yeah, it is a belter, and for that price, Dean, you cannot go wrong. And it's something I don't know where you'd get that anywhere else, because, as you say, you'd probably be looking for a peated expression from that distillery, from that production process. But this is not peated. It's got a lovely, it's spicy and sweet flavor profile, and it does what it says on the label. It's got a lovely wee spicy bite to it.
Yeah,
but a sweetness, it's. I tried it last night, and I was thinking of, fruit pastilles, gummy bears, but with a wee kind of some chili flakes in there as well. So a nice character in that one, I think.
That's a beauty. That's another beauty, Richard. Yeah, you've got me on that one. It's so sensitive. We talk about it all the time. Whatever someone says, and then when you're sharing, which is what we say, it's always all about, isn't it? Even virtually, which is the beauty of it, which Mads will go into a wee bit later as well. But just talking to you over a computer here, as Alan said in the video, it's odd. Some of us more than most find it to be speaking virtually. It feels natural, and I'm going to have some friends private messaging me right now saying, "Oh, there he goes, getting the violin out." But genuinely, it's so true. I mean, we've done it with friends during lockdown, and going on a wee side note here with these superstar buys here. Any one of them, as Alan was saying earlier on, whether you're fond of Zoom or not, or sharing virtually, it just comes natural when it comes to whiskey. You know, however cliched that is, cliches are there over history and time for a reason, because they stand the test of time. Whiskey is all about storytelling, isn't it? Comfort and nostalgia with loved ones more than ever. Sharing a wee dram together, virtually everything you've just said there. It feels a bit more natural tonight, because I would normally be similar to Alan. The Zoom calls and the tastings virtually online, it takes a bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
As soon as you have a dram in your hand and start being sensory and storytelling amongst each other.
But it was a nice tip from Alan to almost to use whiskey as an icebreaker, I suppose. If you are having your family gatherings online this year, which most of us will be to some extent or another, then whiskey can be a great icebreaker. It's a conversation point. It's a way to spark conversation. Whether your family and friends are already whiskey drinkers or not, you can introduce them to it and bring the party to life. As Alan said, get the party started. Why not?
I've just got a message from one of my good colleagues at the Vaults, another one of our ambassadors who's been doing work with the sales team. Joe, sorry, but I'm just going to mention your name right now. I've got a wee private message there saying, superb, you and Richard, who would have thought? I love watching this. Zoom tastings only work if Dean shows up halfway through dram number 2. So at least we were there from the beginning tonight, Richard.
Yeah, very punctual.
So, mate, I have to say, you mentioned it to me during the week. Those were the ones you had your eye on. All of us, and I think you agree with me earlier on, we've all got our eyes on certain, deep, rich and dried fruits, particularly this time of the year. But the society's always been renowned, and the more you get to know it as a membership base and speaking and sharing stories with each other, it's always been known to be about a lot of that rare stock, a lot of that stock that what I call the value for money column, stuff that you just think, wow, for that price, really?
Exactly.
I sound like a salesman there. I'll keep
doing a good job, Dean. Perfect. Listen, you were going to tell us about the home tasting kit as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously people will be at home.
Yeah.
So just talk us through it, Dean.
Yeah, the home tasting kit, it'll just go live in our venues, as Richard was saying earlier on, Bath Street, Glasgow, Queen Street, and ourselves. We're going to start releasing these for members and guests in the venue, and also available online shortly. My lighting isn't very good in here tonight in terms of professional light, but you'll get the gist of it. I mean, just one of those, I could walk around. I don't know if I could walk around in the street, but it is one of those where you think, that's handy, pop in. So within the top layer, we open up the box to what we were talking about during lockdown. And Mads mentioned that Richard's got columns in Unfiltered on this, where members can print off their own tasting mats at home. And just so you can see for the camera there, there is a section on our website where Richard has links that are Unfiltered and blog on smws.com, where you can go to print off your own tasting mat for home. Picking the right glass. It's not a bad kit when it comes with 3 10cl bottlings, which will vary in terms of flavor profile. Your retasting note folder. And then obviously the glassware, Richard, and the actual water pour for jug. We've got Society water jug. If many of you are getting into the whiskey for the first time, or single cask spirits for the first time, we do always recommend, similar to industry-wide, room temperature still water, especially when the water is as quality as it is here in Scotland and many other parts of Europe. Society jug are now well-renowned Copita-shaped Sherry Copita style tasting glass. And some of you will be quite happy to know that we've now got our own Society little pipette. Again, excuse the lighting here. I'm just doing things for fidgety reasons more than anything. But Richard, with this tasting mat, it just brings up, well, virtually so many people that can't communicate with work colleagues, never mind, or to see people that they've worked with for so long, or more importantly, family, close friends, loved ones. You could use whatever glassware you have to hand, but society obviously have our own. When you become part of the membership base, you'll see is good a sherry copta style tasting glass, shaped in a way for nosing and tasting, as good as any. However, if you don't have access to the tasting mat, no problem. But it's really about just what I said earlier on in the build up to talking about the home tasting kit. As Richard said, some of us are well, personality types, isn't it? Some of us can be quite introverted, extroverted. That's what society is all about. It's about everybody, altogether unique. Whatever personality type you are, and whatever you feel in terms of a little bit shy, a little bit quiet in the background on these virtual tastings, there is only one way to communicate the past 9 months. And as I was saying about Richard's chat earlier on virtual tastings, Mads has wrote a column in Unfiltered on the new virtual landscape for whiskies. And for all of us just sitting, whether it's here tonight, listening to me talk a little bit too much, we just been able to sit naturally and speak becomes absolutely standard and common as soon as you start talking about one of the world's finest spirits, and will always be renowned as one of the world's finest spirits, which is Scotch whiskey. Being able to hold that in your hand and talk becomes a lot more natural, whether it's virtually or even those people who are a little bit more introverted, whether it's face to face. And that for me is the beauty of it, Richard. Just sitting with your little mat, if you need one, and communicating via a bloody computer screen.
It's the best we can do, isn't it?
Who would have thought we could do it? But we do, and why not? So for everyone who's looking to try and do it at home, whether you want to take the little tasting mat kit that we've started to provide, Richard's put out an Unfiltered and blog on the website, smws.com. There's a link to be able to print out your own tasting mat at home, and that's been in play for the past few months, since the start of lockdown, actually, the lockdown number 1 here in the UK. And again, just been able to sit, shoot the proverbials with each other over a screen. Why not? I think Mads will go into that later on, Richard. The whole virtual world, it's certainly not stopped enjoying sharing and caring with each other over a computer screen.
Correct. We'll all drink to that, Dean. Well said. Listen, we're going to move on because we've got the one and only James Freeman in our waiting room ready to join us. James, for anyone who doesn't know him already, is the executive head chef at the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, award-winning chef. You've been with the society for quite a long time, James, eh? But
a long time, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a wee bit about Christmas catering. Obviously, it's a fairly stressful time of year for people in the kitchen. Well, you do it for a living. What can we learn from a professional chef when it comes to doing Christmas catering and not getting too stressed out about it? Give us some good tips, some inside knowledge.
I think that one of the first things I would say is get somebody helping you, a designated helper. Not just lots of people sort of milling around offering to help. Get somebody helping you. The other thing I would say is just, I'm sure people have heard this before. You can do everything in advance. For instance, roast potatoes can be blanched, made ready. You can even, for an absolutely perfect result, we freeze our roast potatoes at the point where they've been boiled and shaken so that they're fluffy. Then we'll lay them out flat and freeze them, and then just roast them off when we need them. Basically, on the day, if you've done your roast potatoes, say roast your parsnips, your carrots, they can all be chilled down. You take your Brussels sprouts, blanch them off. Don't bother scoring them. Just blanch them off, put them in ice water when they're ready, cut them in half. The last minute, you can saute them off. So basically, on the day of actually cooking, if it's a turkey that you're doing, you just spend your time concentrating on that and making the gravy. I would say make some stock beforehand, the day before, or even before. You can do a lot of this days and days before. Don't try and do it all on the day. I think that's the main thing. I mean, in a restaurant, everything is kind of, you have all your mise en place all sort of set up, and you do the elements just one at a time from a sort of par-cooked state. So kind of using that principle in at home certainly makes things a lot easier as far as getting the whole meal together.
Right, okay. So as much prep as possible in advance.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you could freeze.
That's a good
shout.
Yeah, start getting things ready, start making stock, put it in your freezer, just little bits that you can get done. Start making your cranberry compote, just fresh cranberries and cinnamon and orange zest. Make it way in advance. Don't try and do everything on the day. And certainly not on the day. The day before, get as much as you can done. And then you've got a nice relaxed day. The other thing I would say is don't worry too much about complicated starters. Get some nice smoked salmon or make a whiskey cured salmon. Just something nice and light. Like a whiskey cured salmon and creme fraiche with horseradish. Keep things nice and simple for your starters. Don't go mad with sort of canapes and things. Just do like nice smoked salmon or nice ham, like nice pata negra ham or something. And just don't try and do too much. Nobody needs, when you're having a nice big meal with lots of sides, then you don't need loads of starters and canapes and stuff like that. A nice cheese board at the end is always a good tip. It's not too much work. Make sure you bring your cheese up to room temperature, and then people can fill themselves up with things like that at the end of the meal if they really need to. It's great to do with whiskey as well. Nice sort of island whiskey. I'm sure you guys could elaborate further, but cheese goes really, really nicely with whiskey, especially with something sweet like a quince jam or an onion jam or like candied walnuts or something. Whiskey, cheese, and something sweet really goes nicely together.
I was going to ask you, James, in terms of working with whiskey.
Yeah.
Any tips on actually cooking with whiskey, or do you think it's better to kind of pair the whiskey I think
cooking with whiskey is great as long as you're reasonably circumspect about it. I mean, I've given a recipe for whiskey cured salmon numerous times, and I think that's really great. But moving on, turkey is a little bit more difficult. I was kind of trying to sort of imagine that whiskey that I would use to cook with that. It's a bit more difficult. But say if you were doing like a joint of beef or a piece of venison, a haunch of venison or something, and that's really easy. You make a nice gravy with sort of, personally I would use like white wine and brandy as the base and boil that down rather than using whiskey and boiling that down. And then you just add a little bit of whiskey at the end of the gravy making. So with beef or venison, we were sort of looking at this earlier on, and could use something, like something sort of sweet and spicy. I did write something down here. Let me just find that. I think Jeremy behind the bar, he was recommending a Glenlivet. I think that's a 2.11 spicy sweet sort of whiskey.
Good recommendation.
Be really nice with venison or joint of beef. With a cured salmon, sort of looking in the Speyside sort of area. The other thing we were thinking about is, I quite like at Christmas, I don't really do it any other time, but it's like a prawn cocktail or something, and instead of using the brandy in the Mary Rose sauce, if you use something like a sort of Klein Leash, which is sort of got that sort of maritime-y, seaside-y sort of flavor. So yeah, I think it just, as long as you're reasonably circumspect with the whiskey and not firing it all over everything, then it can be really, really nice. Obviously, Christmas pudding is great with whiskey as well. Again, that I think you mentioned a whiskey earlier that had sort of orangey, sort of cinnamony sort of flavors. So something like that is absolutely ideal. Put it on and fire up.
We were talking about the deep, rich, and dried fruits flavor profile. Example is the 9410 that myself and Dean were just tasting. But I guess anything in that flavor profile is going to work beautifully for your pudding.
just the home dining, James. So just a big shout out. I've not done it personally myself.
I haven't personally done it, Dean. Yeah, no, it's been quite good. I mean,
my mates have been doing it, and I mean industry wide, James. It's obviously there's many people who have tried and failed with it. I'm trying not to sound too biased, but from what some of the guys have said, a couple of them you would know as well. Absolutely gorgeous. They'd also sent it as gifts for their parents. So the home dining factor, speaking to Richard about that earlier on, superb, mate. Well done.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a Christmas sort of package as well that people might be interested in. So you should have a look at that. Take a lot of the work out of Christmas for people who are having sort of family round. I mean, I think we're going to have small family gatherings. So yeah, we're putting together a Christmas package at the moment, and I think that's online for sale at the moment. So yeah, do take a look at that. Yeah, but certainly been a strange year. I mean, I'm sort of sitting here at this pub session thinking, well, very strange place to be on a Friday night at this time of the year. Usually I'd be downstairs at the kitchen shouting at people with 100 customers upstairs waiting for food. So yeah, very sort of strange experience.
It is so weird, isn't it? Because it's like
it's very strange for chefs, definitely.
Yeah. The first Friday of December is obviously the start of those like big nights out. They carry on through the month as we get closer to Christmas.
Yeah.
And yeah, guess what? We're all stuck at home doing what we can do. But you're doing an actual special Christmas Day home dining. Right?
Yeah. I think that's going to be available for collection at the venues from, I believe it's the 23rd. So we'll be doing
22nd, 23rd.
Probably working overnight on the sort of 22nd to get all that ready for the 23rd. So it's all nice and fresh. Sort of stuffed turkey ballotine. Again, it'll just be. I think we've kind of worked on trying to just make it really simple for people, so there's not too much washing up and not too much figuring out to do. I mean, I know there's been quite a lot of restaurant kits going about, and I think. It can be fun trying to cook a restaurant meal at home, but I think some of them have been really actually quite technically difficult to do, if you know what I mean. You're still pulling together a lot of elements at the same time, which is difficult in a home kitchen. So yeah, we've kind of gone along the simple route, and in the hope that it'll be quite easy for people to do at home. Yeah.
Well, I can speak from experience because I've had the pleasure of, I think, 2 different home dining experience evenings, and I'm not any great chef, but I felt like a total pro when I served up those dishes. And also the videos that you've been doing, James, are really helpful for anyone getting the home dining experience. Check the videos, because it's not just about preparing the meal; it's about plating it up.
Making it accessible for folk like ourselves, Richard. That's so true. You've made it accessible because the detail that James has put out into his food over many years, and the chefs that he's hired in to credit to the chefs. There's a lot of hard work, and a lot of hard work gone into home dining as well, actually. So, but I mean, I've got to say, I'm just I'm desperate to get the venues back open and get that conviviality back up and running. I'm actually sitting in Queen Street at the moment. It's very, it's a bit heartbreaking really to see it empty of people at this time of the year on a Friday night. Usually it would be absolutely buzzing. So glad to see everyone when they do come when we're in.
Hopefully not too long, James. And we'll be back and enjoying food in person and a bustling kitchen, and you can start shouting at your fellow chefs again and all that. Listen, thanks very much for joining us, James.
And if anybody's got any direct queries, they can always email the venues, and we're always happy to give out recipes and
absolutely,
anybody's queries. So if anybody's got any direct questions, please get in touch. And
brilliant. Cheers, James. Have a good Christmas when it comes.
Cheers.
Great tips there. I'm going to roast the potatoes and stick them in the freezer. That's brilliant. Right.
Yeah, he really made it accessible for everyone recently, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, the home dining kit, I've as I say, I've been lucky to have it twice, and absolutely sensational both times. And I'm sure the Christmas one is going to be brilliant as well.
Yeah.
Right. Are you ready for the pub quiz, Dean?
Absolutely. I think it's time for the old.
Oh, here we go. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, if for those of you who've tuned in before, we do a multiple choice, 10 questions, and we encourage you, wherever you are, to have a go and put your answer into our comments field, and we'll take a look at that. And without any further ado, let's crack on. So, Dean, do you want to just ask the first question?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the only one that I know the answer. That I blanked out the answers earlier on so that I can try and be part of this link. Right? What country claims to have published the first Advent calendar? The United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany.
Right, we'll give people a wee moment to think about that one. So you reckon you knew that one?
I thought I did, but I think when I had my wee chat with you earlier on today, I was wrong.
Okay. Amy's on the money. She's saying Germany. Oh, I've given it away now. I shouldn't have said on the money. I've already spoilt the quiz. Everyone knows it's Germany anyway.
I don't know. Well, over whiskey, you never know. But no, I don't. Not maybe not. And by the way, we're in the virtual pub, so it's always going to come out now and again, isn't it?
Right. Well, everyone's going for that. So, correct answer is Germany. What can you tell us anything more about that, Dean?
Yeah. We fun facts. Not only I don't have the Advent calendar to hand actually right now, but not only the first Advent calendar in 1903, but also the first Advent wreath in 1839. Lovely feature on the German origins of some of our Christmas traditions. By a shout out to our ambassador, Peter Eichhorn, in the new Unfiltered magazine.
Very good. Yeah, that's out today. So a nice read by Peter talking about, some of these Christmas traditions that we just take for granted. Quite a few of them have their origin in Germany. There you go. Okay, question 2. Cask number 6851 in the new outturn, come out today, is called Sachertorte and Simnel Cake. So I think I can guess who wrote the tasting note and bottle name for that one. No names, but what is the main ingredient in Sachertorte? Is it A, chocolate, B, hazelnuts, C, dried fruit, D, figs? I'm sure Mads Schmall knows the answer to this one as well. But I've got to be honest, I've never heard of Sachertorte. You get some of these special cakes around about Christmas time, but that's not one that I've come across. Did you know this one, Dean?
I guessed, but it was I guessed correctly earlier on, but it was very much a guess. I didn't know it for sure, but I do appreciate your pronunciation, though. I think that's actually bang on from what Google was telling me earlier on.
That was my German class from school a long time ago. Must have stuck. We've got some answers coming in. Okay, I think the majority are going for A, chocolate, and that is the correct answer. And my fun fact is that Sachertorte was invented by an Austrian pastry chef called Franz Sacher, and he loved chocolate so much he invented this dense chocolate cake. And I think he was only like 16 or 17 years old when he invented it. So it's a big favorite and still going strong. So thank you to Franz Sacher. Question 3, Dean.
In which distillery would you find, as Richard has put up the image there, in which distillery would you find this still? Is it Dalmore, Cooley, Fettercairn, Glenmorangie?
That's it. That's all your options. There's a bit of a giveaway, I would say, in this picture.
My friend Andy, my flatmate's one of his best pals. He's actually one of the ambassadors for Fettercairn. So I don't know if he's in there tonight, but shout out to Andy.
Yeah, we've got First Phil saying C, Fettercairn.
Fettercairn are they saying, are they? Yeah, I was thinking them, but
Jacques is saying Fettercairn. Stephen's saying Fettercairn. Yeah, I mean,
Stephen's there, yeah.
For anyone that knows their distillation processes, I think we can say safely that that's quite an easy one. C, Fettercairn. Any fun facts for Fettercairn, Dean?
Yeah, we pay a wee visit to the Howe of Mearns and Fettercairn distillery in the new issue of Unfiltered, out today, with a great story by our good pal Ali Heather.
That's right. Ali visited there during lockdown. He lives locally up and close to the Howe of the Mearns, and he's done a really nice feature where he's also shot some video, so you can see the kind of unique cooling ring at Fettercairn Distillery in action, and it's really quite something. You know, that's a still picture there, but the video is quite something to see the effect of that cooling ring. So there you are, Distillery 94. Right. Question 4. What is the highest distillery in Scotland? Is it A, Benrinnes? Is it B, Breval? Is it C, Dalwhinnie? Or is it D, Tomintoul? Let's see. Would you have got this one straight away, Dean?
I did get that one again. That was one of the only two that I was quite confident on. Because I've been up there, but yeah, it's good question. There's a couple there that could be near to it.
Yeah, I think I would have got it wrong. People are going for, well, there's a mix here, B and C. Chris is saying D, Tomintoul. So yeah, a bit of a variety for this one. Who's that? Tino is going for C. Chesterville is joining us and saying D. Sorry, Chesterville, not a chance. The correct answer to this one is Breval. I thought it was Dalwhinnie, but in fact, Dalwhinnie, I think, used to make a bit of a song and dance about being the highest distillery, but when it was checked out, it turned out that Breval was 9 feet higher than Dalwhinnie. Breval is 1,163 feet. Dalwhinnie 9 feet shorter at 1,154. So there you go. Yeah. And the reason I wanted to put this question is in this month is, again, in Unfiltered, we've got an article by Tom Bruce Gardine, very good writer, and he's looking at the effects of seasonal distillation, because Dalwhinnie did a release a while back called Winter's Dream, Winter's Gold, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was marketed as being distilled in the winter time, and because Dalwhinnie is so high, the idea was that this climate and this altitude and the severity of the winter at that height had an effect on the production process, which influenced the flavour. So we asked Tom Bruce Gardine to investigate that, and he's written about it in the new Unfiltered about seasonal distillation. All good stuff.
Look forward. I've not read that yet. Yeah, looking forward.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good wee investigation.
Tom Bruce Gardine, excellent.
Yep. Okay, over to you, Dean.
Okay, I think we're again into our good Swedish friends here. Swedes celebrate Christmas Eve in quite an unusual way. What do they like to do? First up, eat KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or is it have a sauna then swim naked in a public lake?
Why not?
That's the first thing I thought. Terrify children by dressing up as monsters, or is it watch Donald Duck cartoons?
That's quite a random list, isn't it?
I do like that question. There's going to be a lot of people that will say, God, that's a bit of an off question to talk about. Well, not in the virtual pub. I've got a couple of Swedish mates who I sent that to earlier on, and their only reaction was instant laughter.
Did they tell you this was true, or it was some kind of internet rubbish that
No.
Master had picked up?
I was hoping they did, so I could try and wind you up. And and not so often for being so talented, mate. But no, you were absolutely bang on. They were both laughing, and they both sent a wee emoji in terms of the answer.
Right.
So yeah, eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, have a sauna, then swim naked in a public lake, terrify children by dressing up as monsters, or is it watch Donald Duck cartoons?
Right. Well, I mean, it looks like people are going for B, have a sauna, then swim naked in a public lake.
I think that's sheer optimism and hope more than anything else.
It sounds like a kind of fairly typically Swedish thing to do, but the correct answer is...
The correct answer is watching Donald Duck cartoons. The tradition...
Tell us why, Dean. What is going on in Sweden?
I know, well, I'll tell you all why it's not have a sauna, then swim naked in a public lake, which for me, and a lot of my friends, whatever sexuality you are, that always sounds very enticing as a wee Christmas Eve thing to do. I'm sure we all agree. The fun fact is the tradition dates back to the screening of the Walt Disney Christmas special from All of Us to All of You, I believe. From All of Us to All of You, which I believe 1959, when Swedes were just starting to own televisions and there was only one channel. Somehow it became an integral part of the country's Christmas celebrations. The other answers are also real traditions. So Richard's been quite entertainingly clever there. That's the main point. The other answers are also real traditions, real facts from around the world. Eating KFC is from Japan. The sauna, which many of us seem to be quite enticed by, it's from Finland. And the scary wee monsters, shout out to Jutta and the team in Austria, is from Austria.
Very good. We've got Andy coming on here with a KFC whiskey link. He says the Colonel Saunders, is that the guy at KFC? He was a friend of the folk who founded Maker's Mark in the early 50s. When they decided on the flavour profile of the whiskey, the Colonel was one of the 6 people around the table who helped choose the flavour. Well, there you go.
Andy, that's a great fun fact.
Even more input. Yeah. Right. Let's move on. Question 6, another picture round. What distillery is this? Is it A, Annandale, B, Dahlun, C, Mortlach, D, Strathisla? So you can see the pagoda roof there, obviously, but that's a fairly common feature of Scottish distilleries. Let's see who knows the answer to this one. Quite a tricky one, Dean.
It is, yeah. I didn't get this one correct, actually, which was quite a bit of geekery. As you know, a lot of us ambassadors would like our geekery, and I actually got it wrong. Second guess was correct, but yeah. It's interesting to know it's coming out in January's Unfiltered, Richard, when we after we give up the answer there. But yeah, January's Unfiltered, you'll find out quite a lot about this.
Indeed. First Phil's going for B, Dahlun, Chesterville, C, Chesterville. Sorry, pal. Wrong again.
Yeah.
Stephen's going A.
Oh,
Gordon's going A. Andy's going A as well. Okay. So well done to anyone who went for A. It is, in fact, Annandale. And as you said, Dean, we're kind of referencing Annandale in the January issue of Unfiltered, because David Thompson from Annandale Distillery, he is now in charge of the Globe Bar in Dumfries. Yeah. And it's become a new society partner bar. So we're going to be profiling it in January's Unfiltered. Obviously, the bar's not open right now, but we're looking ahead to next year when things started to return to normal. And the Globe's a cracking wee pub in Dumfries, a long-standing connection with Robert Burns. And of course, January is the month of Burns nights all over Scotland and the rest of the world. So that's why we put in Annandale, just as a wee bit of background. Okay. Over to you, Dean.
Yeah, I love this one as well. You even mentioned it in the question, Rich. What's the name of the illustrator whose work adorns the ceiling at the vaults? For those of you near and far, local to global, you'll be aware of the large particularly screen print that we have in our ceiling, and it's by either Bob Dewar, Gerald Scarfe, David Shrigley, Ralph Steedman.
Yeah.
There's
I think anyone who's been around the society for a while will know this one, because one of these illustrators is very closely linked with the society, certainly in its early days.
Absolutely.
His work is immediately recognizable, I would say.
Aye. I mean, there's two of them there, Rich, that a lot of people sometimes get mixed up with, and I think both of them would take it as a compliment. We also have picture frames, just as I guess a little wee clue into this answer here. But we at the venue at the Leith venue at the Vaults, 87 Giles Street, we have down our hallway towards the back cast room, we've got picture frames framed by one of these four artists, and not to be confused with the one on the ceiling, which is the question. But people do get mixed up between the two of them, and I think it's a compliment to both of them that both of them would take that as a great compliment.
Yeah, everyone seems to be on the money with this one.
Yes, Bob
Dewar. There you go.
That's the one.
And the ones you're talking about, Dean, that are on the walls.
The books myself.
Ralph Steadman,
Absolutely, yeah, Ralph Steadman. He came out with a recent podcast that I listened to, and also article separately with the society. I mean, he's into his 80s now, I believe, Steadman, and what an artist. But both of them would definitely take it as a compliment, because I don't know if they've ever met Rich, but they're so iconic in their illustrations over many years. And as Richard said, that ceiling at the Vaults, we're not allowed to lie on our backs on the floor. The Vaults. But if you were ever to just look up, it's such a great screen print throughout the members' room venue at the Vaults.
Well, we wanted to give a shout out to Bob as well, because it's been a while since he's done anything for the society. But in the new issue of Unfiltered, which is online today, there's a brilliant short story that was contributed by a member who's based in the US, a chap called Troy Gregory. And he gave me this story, and I thought it was a really good read. It's a whiskey-related kind of fantastical short story, and I thought, well, how are we going to illustrate this? And Bob Dewar's name came into my mind, and I thought, there's no better man than Bob to do it. So I asked him if he would illustrate it, and Bob very kindly did, and he read the short story, and he came up with an illustration. And the reason I'm mentioning it is we wanted to give members the chance to win Bob's original illustration. I've got it here, because I don't know if you can see that particularly well.
Rich, superb. Yeah,
it's brilliant. The story is entitled "Whiskey Gout," and it's about a kind of a dreamlike conversation between a whiskey drinker and the gout in his big toe. And the gout is enjoying the society whiskey that this guy's drinking in a bothy somewhere up in the north of Scotland. It's a great story. So I urge you all to read the story and appreciate the artwork. And if you're in the market for a Bob Dewar original, you can enter the competition and see if we draw your name out the hat, and we'll send you Bob's original illustration. So how about that?
Brilliant. That's a prize and a half. That
good, isn't it? Right. I can't remember if this is for you or me. Will I take this one, Dean?
Yourself, yeah.
Okay, question 8. What Christmas drink is also known as eggnog? Is it A, brandy Alexander, B, milk punch, C, snowball, or D, white lady? I don't hear of eggnog at Christmas time, but
I really give it away. Sure it is out there. To who made that one there? Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's the beauty. Yeah, I nearly gave that away there, Richard, by shouting out too soon to one of my good colleagues who's just started up the. I won't say any more for people still guessing. I'm just going to use the men's room actually for toilet.
Okay, on you go.
Yeah, it was also on the silver screen, Rich, those videos of the new cocktails from the venue.
That's right. We've got a few different guesses. C and A. Okay. I'll wait for no. I'm going to wait for Dean to get back. The correct answer is B, milk punch. And as Dean said, we've got a really good demonstration of how to make a lovely milk punch. It's done by Tony Delcroix in the Glasgow venue. It's one of 4, I think, different cocktail videos that we put together in the run up to Christmas of kind of fairly retro, classic Christmas cocktails. And the milk punch is one of them. Get your spicy and sweet flavor profile, or sweet, fruity, and mellow. And he's got a nice wee scraping of nutmeg on the top, which just kind of gives it that Christmassy feel. Very nice. Right. I'll crack on with this one. Question 9. Our December outturn has the 11th bottling from Distillery 128. Its name is Welsh Giant in the Jamaican Blue Mountains. So how many whiskey distilleries now operate in Wales? Is it 2, 3, 4, or 5? This is one of these ones, Dean. It's hard to keep track, isn't it? It's like, how many distilleries are operating in Scotland or in England? It's just like the number keeps changing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so exciting. I mean, even internationally, with the United States, and throughout globally, and bring it on. I'm nearly blurting out my guess or answer there. It was the 128, which there'll be a couple of expressions we've released towards this end of this fateful year. One of them of which I tried earlier on yesterday again when we've done our own little panel at the venue there. Jamaican Blue Mountains. That's how many distilleries now operate in Wales?
We've got answers all over the place. There's no consensus in this one whatsoever.
Really? Have we got
just all over the place? So the correct answer, as far as I can tell, is 5, and I'll name them. But as far as I know, Penderyn was first in 2004, so it's the kind of granddaddy of the Welsh whiskey scene. I've no idea how to say this, but it's, as far as I know, it's Damile, or it's Damhile. I don't know how to pronounce it at all.
12, Richard, I think, and then
2012
ones,
Coles 2017, Aberfalls 2017, and the most recent is In the Welsh Wind 2017. So by my reckoning, we've got now 5 distilleries operating in Wales. So maybe time we took a trip to Wales and found out a wee bit more about the whiskey scene there.
Damn right. That'd be lovely.
Good one. Right. Last question, Dean, over to you.
Yeah. Where was St. Nicholas, whose habit of gift-giving gave rise to our modern-day I'm anything but Santa Claus born? Where was St. Nicholas, whose habit of gift-giving gave rise to our modern-day Santa Claus born? Was it Germany? Was it Greece? Was it Palestine? Or was it Turkey?
See, Amy came in there with the answer even before we'd revealed that.
Was that a split second?
She was ahead of us, so that's quite impressive. No hanging about. Here's Daniel is saying hello from Cyprus. Nice to have someone tuning in from Cyprus. Amy's apologizing. No need to apologize. That's like University Challenge, where they answer the question before Jeremy Paxman's even finished asking it.
Before you finish saying it,
Yeah.
Where was St. Nicholas? Habit of gift-giving gave rise to our modern-day Santa Claus born. And you was right off the bat.
We're all over the place with the answers here, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So, on you go, Dean.
Well, St. Nicholas was born in 270 AD, had a reputation for secret gift-giving, such as putting coins in the shoes of those left out for him, a practice still celebrated on St. Nicholas Day or feast day of 6th of December in various countries. And after that wee fun fact, the answer is turkey, and nothing to do with the traditional dish that many meat eaters will have over their Christmas meal.
There you go. Right. Well done to everyone. I don't know what you ended up with your scores. Some tricky questions in there. Bit of a mix, but just a wee bit of fun for our last quiz
Brilliant.
of the year. Very good. Okay. We are ready to say hello to our social media guru, Mads Schmall. Mads,
hello.
Thank you for joining us.
It's good
How
to
you
be
doing?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mads,
Good.
we're going to talk to you in a wee second about conjuring up a magical retro Christmas. But we wanted to just kick things off with our pal Alan Wood and his take on entertaining gifts. So we'll just listen to Alan first and then we'll come back to you.
Good evening, my name is Alan Wood. I work for 38 Bath Street Scotch Malt Whisky Society. We're one of the newest venues located in the heart of Glasgow, and when we're coming up to the festive season, one of the most tricky things in the world is to go Christmas present shopping. People who like whisky will often say, buy me any dram you like, and you end up buying them something that perhaps might not go down so well. So we have a couple of different selections at Bath Street and our venues that are different and more unusual bottlings. And for me, one of my personal favourites is peat. And we have this one here, for example. This is a lightly peated grain from the Highlands. For me, peat is a wonderful topic. No two opinions are the same. I love my Isla peats, whereas I've met people who like the softer Highland peats. So what I always recommend, if you're looking for that gift to challenge somebody, to broaden that palate that goes, I've had every whisky, I like them all, then I recommend you go for a grain, go for something unusual this season as well. So we hope you have a lovely Christmas and a stress-free festive season, and we look forward to seeing you at any one of our venues in the near future.
Well done, Alan.
Very nice, as always, from Alan. So Matt, he's talking about Christmas gifting, whisky-wise. Let's talk about that. What, apart from whiskey, what should we be looking out for in terms of like some decent presents this year?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Richard, because we actually very much this evening just released the first batch of our new SMWS gear. So I've actually got some of those things here to show you. We have 2 hats. So we've got a lovely bobble hat, which has a society monogram on it.
Yeah.
We've also got a beanie, which is a bit, a bit more demure, perhaps. Not quite as loud, but both will keep you warm. And then my personal favorite of the gifting items that we have this year, we have this amazing society hip flask, which is actually, for the keen-eyed among you, the same tartan that the waistcoats are at our venues, and it holds a pretty good whack of whiskey as well. I think it's 160 mils, so you can fit quite a lot of whiskey in there, which when we can all get out and about again is going to be quite nice, I think, for hill walking.
Well said.
Beautiful. Oh, there's Dean. This is like the shopping channel.
Dean's got one as well.
Lads virtually just handed me it right there. So
yeah, it's not here anymore.
No, superb. Well said. I just seen them for the first time, Mads, yesterday. They're well, it's a little less sillier than the Santa one. Yeah, I'm sure my brother and my father and probably mum as well, they'll be looking for one.
Well, there are some more items coming out as well. They're not out now, but we do have a jacket, which is a bit harder to show you, but I do have it here. So it's an outdoor jacket. It's an outdoor jacket. It's fleece lined. It's waterproof. It's actually very, very cozy. And we have a polo shirt as well, which I don't have with me. But that will be coming out on Monday, I think. But that's TBC. We'll announce on our social channels when it's live.
Very nice. Nice to see some society merch.
Yeah, I know.
It's just good to say the word merch. It's like my little cousins who are they're like, oh God, you're trying to be cool. They're
That's
saying
me.
the word
I'm trying to be down with the kids.
I see. But I
So
think you brought me in to talk about retro Christmas a bit and how we can make
I
the
was
most of
going to
that.
ask you, you're looking very festive there. I've made a kind of fairly token effort with the smallest Christmas tree I could find. But you know, I'm doing
Yeah,
my
I
best.
missed out on I tried to wear which is now nostalgic Nirvana there, but yeah, mad.
So yeah, I mean, it's a difficult Christmas. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to celebrate as we are accustomed to. So maybe it's an opportunity to kind of wallow in a bit of nostalgia. How do we make the best of Christmas this year, Mads?
So I think one of the main things is really to just embrace your childhood favorites. Everyone has different things that they remember about Christmases of their past. For me, it was quite a German tradition. With my parents, we always opened our presents on Christmas Eve. Since I grew up in America, this was always a bit weird for my American friends that I was opening my presents on Christmas Eve, but it's always the way we did things, and it's something that I've kind of carried over today. At the same time, it's about creating kind of new traditions. So maybe it's something like leaving whiskey out for Santa, whoever he may be, or just creating some new memories. I think it's, you know, if you have a nice brunch at the weekend, maybe it's a brunch with whiskey, maybe you light some candles, or maybe you're even as organized that you organize a virtual cocktail hour. And you see who can make the best cocktail. You have a game of charades, and you try something new. For me, earlier this year, I discovered the brandy Alexander for the first time, and loved it. It wasn't something I ever thought I would go for, but something different.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Speaking to Richard about that, Mads, we've got some videos on the SMWS Silver screen with Alan and Anthony and the guys at Glasgow, and also in Queen Street, where they've put out some cracking Richard did some cracking videos. Some of them I've only seen actually the past couple of weeks, but they've been out there for a wee while, of society cocktails utilising some of our cracking spirit.
Yeah, especially this is a really good time of year to try one of our single cask spirits if you haven't yet. So one of our cognacs or armagnacs or even a rum. I did a Twitter tasting earlier this week with some members, and it was a blind tasting with a rum, a grain, and spice cannon actually. And it's funny because if you've never had a society rum before and you try it the first time, you're not entirely sure, but it is certainly, you know, a different experience than what you may think rum is. And in terms of keeping those festive tunes going, we also have a Spotify playlist that you can find called A Very Merry Retro Little Christmas. It's got lots of classic Christmas tunes, but also some non-Christmas tunes in there. And so it's a bit of a mix. You won't just have Christmas tunes, and they're all slightly older Christmas tunes as well. So not as much of modern things there, shall we say?
I can recommend it. It's a classy compilation for anyone who is fearing the kind of onslaught of cheesy Christmas music. The Mads' playlist it's really nice. You know, it's got some classic crooners, and it's the kind of soothing soundtrack that we all need at this particular time of year. So good work with that one, Mads.
Bit of romance is good at Christmas time.
Could well be.
Always.
Very good.
Always. Mistletoe all the way.
Good stuff.
But I think the main thing is just, you know, make sure that you can raise a glass with friends, whether it's virtually or maybe outside. It's all about coming together in whatever form is allowed.
Correct. Brilliant. Right, Mads. Brilliant to see you. Thanks for popping into the pub.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, guys.
Stick around. We've got. Let me see what's going on. We have the one and only Robin Lang is going to play us out this evening. Robin, are you with us?
I'm here, yeah.
Great stuff. Okay. So we're going to wrap things up and hand it back over to you for a second set. So take us away.
Okay, Richard, thanks. Well, I've been sitting, getting quietly smashed, listening to the show. That was really good. So I'm not really in a serious mood anymore, but my set list tells me I have to start with something serious. And I want to mention one of your quiz questions was Bob Dewar was the answer. And Bob Dewar, of course, is a genius, a complete genius. And he not only did your ceiling, but he does all the covers for my CDs. It illustrates my books as well. So, you know, the serious point I want to make is that during this whole year, coronavirus, I'm not going to be very popular for saying this, but people who make and sell whiskey have actually done quite well. But musicians have been totally fucked. So if you want to do something, you know, to help musicians, it doesn't have to be me, but go out and go online, buy CDs of some Scottish musicians who've not been able to play this year at all. And that's where they sell their CDs at gigs. So go online and buy a couple of CDs by Scottish musicians and send them to your friends for Christmas presents, okay? That's the serious bit over. Well, actually, this is a serious song. We all remember what was the first whiskey that turned our heads, you know, that switched us on to single malts. And for me, I won't tell you the story, but it was Talisker. And so I've written this song called Talisker Bay. It's about how whiskey can change your life. Usually in a good way, of course. I picked up stones on Talisker Bay. I threw them in the sea. I had to find a different way, something right for me. I watched the boats go sailing by, saw the waterfall dropping down the cliff so high. I heard the seabirds call. I felt the waves on Talisker Bay crashing over the stones, the ancient dance of foam and spray of tall ships coming home. I threw my voice across the sky, it fell into the sea. I was Icarus flying by, nobody watching me. And time stood still for me, there by the margin of the sea. I poured a dram on Talisker Bay, the night time coming on, and I decided I would stay and feel the kiss of dawn. A driftwood fire to keep me warm, liquid fire inside. Suddenly the inner storm quietened down and died. And time stood still for me, tasting the smoke and the storm. By the margin of the sea, sweet salty memories of home. Beneath the stars on Talisker Bay, I sang a simple song, and all the world seemed far away, and the night still and long. Something in the Talisker dram opened up my eyes, and I came close to understand the things that I should prize. That doesn't make me wise, but time stood still for me, tasting smoke and the storm. By the margin of the sea, sweet salty memories, sweet salty memories of home. Talisker, was my favourite whiskey for many years, especially the 100 proof, the high strength Talisker. That was what made me realise that single cask natural strength whiskey is, it's the only place to go, really. You can keep all your chill filtered 40% stuff, really, for me. Anyway, I'm back to something a bit more seasonal now. I heard the story about the whiskey that they discovered under Shackleton's hut in Antarctica. And of course, Richard Patterson from McKinley's was able to take a little sample of it and analyze it and so on. And they said there was, I think it was 6 or 7 cases. Well, in those days, a case was 12 bottles. So that's quite a lot of whiskey lying there for 100 years under the snow and the ice, encased in snow and ice under Shackleton's hut. And after they'd analysed it and told the world about it, you know what they did? They put it back. So all that whiskey is back under the floor of Shackleton's hut. And it gave me an idea for a summer holiday. So this is called Shackleton's Hut. I'm gonna fly across to Jamaica, then I'll swim to the Yucatan. I'll get to Venezuela any way I can. I'll cycle down the Andes, right to the very tip at Tierra del Fuego. I'll climb aboard a ship and across the Weddell Sea. That ship will carry me. I'm gonna cleanse my soul at the southern pole. My life has lost its meaning. I think I'm in a rut. It's time for some spring cleaning in a month or 2 in Shackleton's hut. I won't take anything with me except for my teddy bear. I guess it could get lonely, it depends how long I'm there. I won't miss the television, it's a poison in my soul. And a drop of Shackleton's whiskey will help to keep me sane. And underneath the floor, there's 60 bottles or more. I'm gonna dig a little hole at the southern pole. My life has lost its meaning. I think I'm in a rut. It's time for some spring cleaning in a month or 2 in Shackleton's hut. Now Ernest was a good guy, respected by all his men. He took them to the world's edge and he brought them back again. And he embraced adventure every single day. And he knew the power of whiskey to keep the cold at bay. Mr. Shackleton could be a good role model for me. I'm gonna rock and roll at the southern pole. My life has lost its meaning. I think I'm in a rut. It's time for some spring cleaning for a month or 2 in Shackleton's hut. So now I've reached Antarctica, I landed with the tide, and a friendly penguin's told me the hut's on the other side. I guess I better start walking, it'll help to keep me warm, and a little bit of exercise never did me any harm. So Pingo, come with me, I could use some company. We'll waddle and we'll stroll to the southern pole. My life has lost is speeding, I think I'm in a rut. It's time for some spring cleaning in a month or 2 or 3 in Shackleton's hut. Shackleton's hut. Yeah, that would be a cold place. Of course, this time of the year, this is actually summer down there, but it's still bloody cold. Richard asked me if I knew any Christmas songs. And there's only one Christmas song that I ever bothered to learn. So here we go. Put my Santa hat on for this. Wait a minute. Yours looks better, Dean. Never mind. I learned a song from a guy called Struggling Jack Rudkin, who lived in Leicester, and he was a songwriter, and he wrote fantastically funny songs. And Green Tracks Record Company was making an alternative Christmas CD a few years ago called Bah Humbug, and they asked me if I had any songs that would fit, and I remembered this one by Jack Rudkin. And so I'm going to give it to you now. I kept this till the very end because it could upset some people. I realised that. So after this, I'm just going to hand back over to Richard, okay? But this is my only Christmas song. It goes like this. Wait a minute, I'll get the key. In the distance, church bells chime. Soon it will be Christmas time. On the fire there burns a Yuletide log. Carolers are singing too, noses red and fingers blue. Sounds of children coughing in the fog. But there's one man who'll be working when you're tucked up in your bed. For he has got a seasonal job. His coat is always red. I'm the man that slits the turkey's throats at Christmas. I'm the man that pulls their innards inside out. I gather up the giblets and wrap them in cellophane, and just because it's Christmas, I shove them back in again. I secure their little ankles with elastic. Then I mop up all the slime with bits of rag. And I'm sure that it would please them to know before I freeze them, I pop them into a little plastic bag. When autumn leaves have fallen and winter winds do blow, I visit all my poultry shouting, 5 more weeks to go. I send each one a Christmas card, and it always is a funny one, portraying thyme and parsley, rosemary, sage and onion. But I'm a kindly master, compassionate and dutiful, and it ruffles up their feathers when I tell them that they're beautiful. I'm the man that slits the turkey's throats at Christmas. I'm the man that pulls their innards inside out. I gather up the giblets and wrap them in cellophane. Then just because it's Christmas, I shove them back in again. I secure their little ankles with elastic. Then I mop up all the slime with bits of rag. And I'm sure that it would please them to know before I freeze them, I pop them into a little plastic bag. Some people say I'm cruel, some say that I'm insane, but methods I've adopted are really quite humane. I kill them, draw them, pluck them. It's the best way I have found, unless I feel vindictive when I swap the system round. With my hand stuck up a turkey, it's not a pretty sight, but they die with smiles upon their beaks to tell me it's all right. I'm the man that slits the turkey's throats at Christmas. I'm the man that pulls their innards inside out. I gather up the giblets and wrap them in cellophane. Then, just because it's Christmas, I shove them back in again. I secure their little ankles with elastic. Then I mop up all the slime with bits of rag, and I'm sure that it would please them to know. Before I freeze them, I pop them into a little plastic bag. One day this little turkey cock with teardrops in his eye whispered to me, "Please, sir, I don't want to die." I said, "Come here, my chickadee, you don't look very chuffed. Don't you know it's Christmas time, so turkeys can get stuffed? But you have really touched me, and though we still must part, there's going to be a place for you right here next to my heart. I'm the man that slits the turkey's throats at Christmas. I'm the man that pulls their innards inside out. I gather up the giblets, I wrap them in cellophane, and just because it's Christmas, I shove them back in again. I secure their little ankles with elastic. Then I mop up all the slime with bits of rag. I'm sure that it would please them to know. Before I freeze them, I pop them into a little plastic bag. Animals' rights activists may not be very chuffed. But
I did ask you if you had any Christmas tunes up your sleeve, but that's an absolute belter. Fantastic.
Cheers.
Robin, cheers to you. Have a good Christmas when it comes.
Thanks to Jack Rudkin for the song.
entertaining us.
Yeah, cheers.
Tremendous.
Right, Robin.
What a way to finish, Dean. That was an absolute cracker, a Christmas cracker.
Here. Robin.
Brilliant.
Oh, and a computer screen. Who would have thought?
Brilliant. Good stuff. Well, I hope everyone's feeling suitably festive now that we've sung songs about slitting the turkey's throats at Christmas. We've shared a wee dram. It's been a really good night. Thanks to everyone who's taken part. Robin there with his Christmas songs, Alan Wood with his contribution, James Freeman with his tips for catering this Christmas time, Mads for getting us sorted out with a lovely retro Christmas playlist and her debut on the SMWS shopping channel. Fantastic job. And Dean, great to see you outside of the vaults and prospering, doing well. And thanks for coming along and being part of the session.
No, superb. Thanks for the invite, Richard. That's a pleasure. Merry Christmas, everyone. And here's to all your close and loved ones. Thank you.
Absolutely. Right, Dean. All the best. We'll see you soon. Right, everyone, that's it. We're going to wrap up. Wee reminder, there's a new issue of Unfiltered out today, and it's full of Christmassy stuff, as well as other whiskey-related reading material. Enter your Bob Dewar competition to win the original artwork that he provided for us this month. There's a virtual tasting coming up that I should mention. Mads is back for that on the 17th. She's going to be with John McShane, our master brand ambassador, and Connus is going to be in the session that night. So that's it for me for 2020. What a crazy year it's been. I didn't think I'd be sitting here doing virtual pub sessions when 2020 started, but we've had a bit of fun over the months. Thank you, everyone who has joined in and taken part and got involved. It's always good to see you. So I hope you all have a good Christmas when it comes. We'll see you in the new year. It's going to be a better year next year. So cheers to everyone. Thank you and good night.